Okay, we're on page 348, and I'm going to do a little review here with the different forms. So there are 3 forms that we've looked at in this chapter and that we're going to have to memorize. The first form really is standard form. Standard form, and standard form is the standard because from that you can get all the other forms. But can anyone give me the general form for standard form? Yes. Yeah, there's a reason why we capitalize letters and use lowercase letters. So here, standard form is ax plus by equals c. All right, what do a, b, and c have to be? Integers. A and b cannot both be 0. And a has to be positive. Yeah, you can say it has to be positive or greater than or equal to, and I should say greater than or equal to 0 because it can also be 0. Okay, that's standard form, and it's picky because you have to have so many different things here. So can a be a fraction? No. Can c be negative? Yes. Okay, good. So good. You're following me and my questions. Technically, a, b, and c can all be negative. They can all be fractions. They can be decimals. But for our purposes to learn it really well, get it this way, okay? And so I will kind of, if you don't have those stipulations, put on those A, B, and C.
Oh, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. That's okay. Point, slope, form was the second form we looked at. And does anyone remember how to say that one or state that one? It's probably the longer one out of the 3. Hayes?
Y sub 1 minus y sub 2 equals...
Oh, you're thinking slope. Yes, slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1. So y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. Okay, there you go. So that's your point slope form. You guys remember that?
Yeah. I don't remember.
And don't worry, we'll do it again. It is a weird one, and I told you guys that this is an intermediary form. That means from this form, you can branch off again to you can go back to standard, or you can go down to the third form, which is what we looked at yesterday. Anybody? Slope-Intercept. And this was the shortest out of the 3. Yep.
Y equals 2x.
Yeah, and again, when we say plus b, that means you're adding b. Can b be positive? Yes. Can it be negative? Yes. And so you could have y equals mx minus b, and that's still the same form.
I remember my question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So for if a equals 0, would you just do, let's say b is 6, you just do 6y equals c?
You can leave it like that. Yes.
And not even have to end?
Yeah, you could put 0x, or you could drop it
Did
out.
you count that wrong?
No.
No.
Okay, these are the 3 forms that we're looking at, and the third form is the easiest way to graph a line. But you can also graph it from the point slope and the standard forms. Although standard form, basically, you got to get into one of these forms to really graph it effectively. But yeah, all 3 of these you need to know for this chapter, okay? We looked at, bless you, last year at the slope-intercept form. We didn't even touch the point slope or standard. But I hope you guys are getting more comfortable with it. How many of you feel pretty comfortable with standard? Like, it's not easy all the time, but you know what you're trying to get. Point slope is probably the least comfortable because it's kind of awkward in how it looks like. But let me ask you this. What are you replacing in this point slope form? What do you have to have? You have to have a, and you have to have the, okay, so where does slope go?
M.
So yeah, M is always standing for slope. And then where's the point go? Where does the X and the Y go? X sub 1, Y sub 1. These are the other infinite number of X's and Y's, which would be the same thing down here. You see these two x, this x and this y? This x and this y are representing, again, all the infinite points that are out there. And then what does m stand for?
Slope.
And then the b?
Y.
Okay, so you see how we call it point slope? Point slope. And you see why we call it slope-intercept? Slope-intercept. Okay? So it's intuitive. It is. Thankfully they named it, appropriately. All right, let's go ahead and look at a problem that we're going to have to do. Example number 4. So example number 4 here on page 348. It says, write the slope-intercept and standard forms of the equation for a line that passes through -3, -1, -3, -1, and 6, 4. Oh, 6, -4.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I need to check it.
No, I didn't.
All right, so we have our 2 points now. Really, in any one of these forms, what's probably the main thing you need every time? You need the slope. And you're like, they didn't give me the slope. But can you find the slope?
Yes, I know what to do.
Okay, so Beth, what is the equation that you use to find the slope?
Isn't it m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x?
So we're going to use this equation with those 2 points. And I hope you remember that this could be the x sub 1, y sub 1, and that could be the x sub 2, y sub 2. Or you can flip them around. But I just leave it the way they gave it to me. So go ahead and find the slope. And don't forget the negatives. You don't want to mix them up because, again, that will throw off your slope, and it throws off your standard, throws off your point slope and your slope-intercept. So slope is very key. So you need to be careful. All right, are these where my numbers go? According to that, those 2 points?
Yeah, they look pretty good.
Thank you. So now I have -4 plus 1. And then 6 plus 3. So does anyone know what my slope is? -1/3. I got my slope here. -1/3 is my slope. All right. What do they want me to do in this problem, though? They want me to get 2 forms, standard form and slope-intercept form. Okay. I am halfway done with the slope-intercept form. How do I know that? I'm halfway done with slope-intercept because I already have the slope. So all I would need was the y-intercept. So this is what we're going to do. This is kind of a new process, but I want to see. I'm looking at your eyes. You guys are paying attention. This is good. So I say I have half of the slope-intercept, and I'm going to put this here. I don't know what b is, right? So I have all that, but I still don't have b, and that's what I need to get slope-intercept form. Okay. Does anyone remember what the x and the y stand for? I kind of mentioned it a couple times, almost in passing, but they do stand for something. It's the blah, blah on the blah, blah. Can you give me something? Yeah.
Is it the x point and the y point on the graph? Like,
Which one? Because aren't there...
oh, but yeah, there's infinite.
So you know what it represents? All of them. Or any of them. Okay? So the x, this x, and this y represent any of those ordered pairs that could be on a line. Okay? Do we have any of those ordered pairs? How many do we have?
2.
We have 2 of them. You can use either one of them. Which one do you want to use? The first or the second?
Definitely the second.
That one's second.
No, first because of the negative one.
I would say
The first.
you can go either one. Either one is going to get you the same answer here. Either one, okay? So let's just make it easy. Let's go with the first one. I know, I'm sorry. The vote that came in. All right, the first one. So what does x equal here?
-3,
What does y equal?
-1.
Okay, I could use this point, which we're going to, or I can use this point or any other point on that line. But do I have any other point on that line? No. So I have these 2 options. Okay, I want to find out what that intercept is, don't I? If I knew that, I'd be done with slope-intercept. So how am I going to find it? I'm going to use that point. Can someone tell me what it was?
-3, -1.
-3, -1. Okay, I'm going to use that point in this equation in this way. So what does x equal? What does y equal? Then could I solve for b? Well, let's see here. -1 equals -1/3 times -3 plus b. What did I do there? I substituted the x and the y with these coordinates. And could I solve for b now? Could I solve for b? Okay, so let's see if we can do that. If you can do it on your own, great. If you can't, we'll work it out together. All right. So I'm going to do this first. What's -1/3 times -3?
1.
Yeah, it'd be +1. So I have -1 equals +1 plus b. Okay, see how I got that? And then what do I do to get b by itself? Subtract 1 from both sides. And I'm left with what? -2 equals b. Okay, -2 equals b. So I have my slope-intercept form now. Do I already know what my slope is? Do I know what my y-intercept is? So I have my slope-intercept form. It is right here. Instead of b, or positive b, I'm going to put -2. That's my slope-intercept form. Okay, now, do you guys remember how I said you could have used either point? Okay, what was the second point? So not the -3, -1, or 6 and -4. So let's say some of you wanted to do the second one, fine. Instead of putting in the other point, I'm going to put in this point. So I have -4 equals -1/3 times 6 plus b. Remember, we didn't know what b was. You guys see what we're doing? We're doing the next, we're trying to differently see what we get. What's -1/3 times 6? It'd be -2 plus b over here. And then what do I do to solve for b? Add 2 to both sides. And you get -2 equals b. Isn't that what I get over there? So this y and this x stand for any ordered pair that you can put into that line. Will they both give me the same y-intercept? Yes, they will. If you do it correctly, they will. That is my slope-intercept form. I just did it 2 ways. You don't have to do it 2 ways. You only have to do it 1. But you can do it with either point. Yes, sir.
So when you finish the slope-intercept form and you have like all the answers, do you not put in the y and the x because it could be anything?
Oh, no, don't. After you get it in this form, like after you're done with all this, you're done. If you wanted to graph now, you could start finding out some other value. You can just start making up values for x, and then they'll tell you where your values for y is. So you guys remember how you could graph this now on a line or on a coordinate? Just pick some x values. I already know what you're going to get if you put in 3. You're going to get -1, right? Or sorry, -3. You're going to get a -1. But I could pick other points and graph them. Okay, what else did they want me to do on this problem? Standard form. They wanted standard form. Yeah. All right, can someone give me that slope-intercept form again? I need some more space. Y equals -1/3 x minus 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to get that in standard form. So I want to get the x and the y on one side, and then the constant on the other. So there's something preventing me from doing that, because standard form needs to have integers, but I have a fraction. How do I get rid of it? Multiply both sides by 3. Multiply both sides by 3. You could do by -3, but you're going to get, well, you could do that, and then as long as you get standard form, you're good. But we'll do by 3 just because we know we got to get rid of this denominator. All right, we get 3y. And then what's -1/3 x times 3? Because I got to do this times my 3.
-1 x.
I'll put -x, right? Because you still have that x. So -1x or -x. What's -2 times 3? -6. All right, is that standard form?
No.
So what do you do to both sides? Add x to both sides because you want to get the x and the y on one side. And what are you left with? X plus
3y
equals
equals -2.
negative.
6.
There you go.
6.
That's your standard form. Yeah, I don't think it's too far, but too hard. But you got to remember. You got to remember what you're doing. Yeah, I like this. This is tough, and what a great way to end the calendar year, because you're getting things that are a little bit tougher, but you guys are able to handle it, and you'll see on your test how you did if you're able to handle the first part. Okay. It was a mixed bag, mainly good, but yeah, like I said, when I'm grading the test, and I was doing it last night, I was like, okay, good, and I saw some good, like awesome, and then I saw some like, oh man, they had it, and I break my pencils or more red pens. But I listen, each one of you, I want you to be a success here, and you're capable of it if you work hard. Like just work hard, and success doesn't mean 100%. Success means you're doing your best. 80, 90, 100, 102%. Wait, that's not possible. Or is it? All right, some of you will find out. All right, anyway, let's see how you guys do on this next assignment. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to work on these next problems, and then we'll get into the next lesson. I want you to do number 41, 43, and 45 on page 351. So 3 problems. It says write an equation in standard form for a line that passes through each pair of points. So 41, 43, and 45. And I'm going to show you a little flow chart that might help you to be able to figure it out. Okay, I'll show you a flow chart, and you can do it either way. I just thought of this now. Okay, you're going to start off with 2 points. You need to find slope. You have to do that. Then you can go to point slope form, or you can go to slope intercept form. We just did the method with slope intercept form, but you can put it into point slope form. Remember, you have your slope, and you can put the point into the x sub 1, y sub 1, so you can do that. And then after that step, you can go to the standard form. So we went this route this morning. Points, slope, slope intercept, standard. You could also go point, slope, standard. I like that. Is that okay? Is it clear? All right, I'm going to pause this here.